22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not.
Welcome, 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 welcome. You are tuned into Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 382. I'm your host, AJ Woodson. Damon K. Jones will be joining us shortly. It's coming from a venue, from an event. Today we're going to be talking about Westchester County's double standards, inequality in pay, raises, and benefits. The county police, which is made up of mostly white men, makes almost $40,000 more than county corrections, which is mostly majority black and brown. And we'll be talking a lot about that. We have some special guests coming through, and Damon will be leading that conversation. But before that, so I was on News 12 earlier. Well, I was interviewed by News 12 earlier. And they called me and they asked me about what I thought about, the Congress voting to avoid the shutdown. And they asked me, what a lot of people have been asking me, my thoughts on the whole Jamal Bowman fire alarm situation. So they interviewed me, asked a bunch of questions, and of course they only showed certain bits and pieces, and they left out most of the most important things that I said. They asked me, was I surprised? I said, no, I wasn't surprised. I knew that they would probably do something temporary last minute, and that's what they did. But I've said this before, with all these times we are in danger of a shutdown, I believe that the congressmen, the very people that vote for the shutdown, cause a shutdown, and not they have the vote, their checks are not, if there's a shutdown, their checks are not affected as far as I know. And if the country shuts down and their checks are affected, I think you would have more priority on keeping the country open and not shut down. It doesn't affect them. So as long as it doesn't affect them, they can play these political games, trying to get their political agendas through, attaching it to the bill so the other side won't vote. And this is the Republicans doing it now, but I mean, it's on both sides, asking for things that they know the other side won't approve. So that's why we have these situations. But again, if their paychecks were in danger when there's a government shutdown, I think you would have this situation would be taken more serious, and we wouldn't be facing this. It's to the point like every year now. It's like every other year we're like hearing about the government's going to shut down, and they do like this little thing for 45 days or something, and then the government. So we're good to like November 17th or something like that, and so then they got to vote again, or the government's going to shut down. I'm glad they did something. and I expected them to do that, but they should have just did the whole thing for the year. That's enough about that. But so what my phone has been blowing up on, and my emails and everything has been blowing up ever since it happened. The reports of Congressman Jamal Bowman pulling the fire alarm. So I saw with the speaker, Kevin McCarthy, said, and then he was making it seem like Jamal Bowman pulled the fire alarm to delay or stop the House from voting to avoid the shutdown. Like he was voting, he was pulling the alarm so that they would shut down. So I really wasn't sure what happened. One, I had to have the congressman. I had a on record and off the record conversation with him, more than one conversation. And so far, from what I found, so one, he admits that it happened, and I'll explain that. So that we'll get that out the way. But unlike what they lead you to believe in the news reports that I saw, it wasn't in the Capitol building, and it didn't affect the vote. So Congressman Bowman's office is in the Cannon building, Cannon, which is and his office is, I think, like maybe on the third floor. So now this part is what he is alleging to happen. I mean, it's being investigated. Everything's going to come out. So he went to a door that he normally goes out to walk out that door and then go into where the Congress votes. It was like a 15-minute thing. 15 minutes. They had 15 minutes to get there, place their vote, and all that good stuff. So the door. So I'm asking because I wanted to know. I needed it to make sense to me. How do you go through a door and a fire alarm goes off? So I had pictures of the door sent to me, and the words on the door say, emergency, it's a sign that says emergency exit only. It says push until alarm sounds. Then there's parentheses, 3 seconds. Door will unlock in 30 seconds. So the congressman alleges, again, until this investigation, everything is alleged this, alleged that, alleges that, so in a rush to place his vote, he went to go out the door he normally goes. It did not open. He saw the sign. He hits the alarm, expecting it will unlock the door. And then he's going to go through and place his vote. So the alarm does go off. The Cannon building is evacuated. He goes out downstairs. He goes and he votes. So that's the facts as far as I know them. It is not true that it even if you want to say he maliciously pulled the fire alarm, like it was a prank or something, or whatever they're trying to say, it was not in the Capitol building. It did not affect the vote. It would not have delayed the vote. The congressman didn't have to evacuate the building, which is what would happen if a fire alarm was pulled. This was in another building, and it was in an effort to get out. That doesn't excuse the fact that he did it. He also admits that he knows that it is a crime to pull a fire alarm if there is no fire. So I want to look that up as well. And I'm trying to pull it up so I can read it. It is a misdemeanor crime. If it happened at the Capitol and the Capitol building, like they alleged it happened, and it was in an effort to delay the vote or postpone the vote, it would definitely have been a felony. But in the building that he was in, he pulled this alarm, he said, so he could get out. I'm trying to find a graphic. I looked up the DC penal law. Um, it's a misdemeanor. It will most likely be a fine. And I believe that he should be penalized with the fine and whatever else it could be. Um, if a judge rules, so it could be, I guess, jail time for like up to 6 months or something like that. I can't. I gotta find the thing so I can read it exactly. I'll post it later when I post this video. So anyway, I'm not excusing the fact that he pulled this alarm for any reason. I am clearing up the matter of it is not what some Republicans would have you believe. I don't think that this. I think that he has admitted that he was wrong. He has spoken to the Capitol Police. He has spoken to the Sergeant at Arms. I guess there will be some sort of investigation. They will determine, whatever the penalty for that is, which, from what I read, is most likely going to be a fine, and he can be charged with a misdemeanor. He is guilty of that, and he admits that. At least when we talked, he admitted that. But he didn't do what they said he did, as far as trying to delay a vote. I do take him at his word, simply because he did admit what he did, and he did admit that maybe it was poor judgment, maybe it was in a rush, maybe whatever the fact. I was a little disappointed when you have a target on your back like the congressman does. You have to be extra careful and not put yourself in situations like that, regardless. Ignorance to the law is no excuse. You can't say, "Oh, I didn't know that was against the law," and if it's against the law, you have to pay the penalty. So he should pay whatever fine it is or whatever, and he could be charged with a misdemeanor, and he should be, because the crime that he committed was pulling a fire alarm for whatever the reason, and there was no fire. That is actually a crime. Now, if it had been what they said, and it had been in the Capitol, and he pulled the alarm so they couldn't take this vote, and everybody would have had to evacuate, and it would have postponed the vote or delayed the vote, that is a penalty. That is a felony. That is what they're trying to say he did. And even showing the picture, they're not telling you that wasn't the Capitol. They're showing you that picture saying he was trying to delay the vote. So while they're not telling you it's the Capitol, they're not saying it is the Capitol, they're leading you to believe that. I spoke on a lot of this on News 12. They didn't show any of the things that I spoke on. That they showed Suzanne Berger, who was the Westchester County chair, what she had to say, and another dude, but they didn't show any of the parts that I said. So anyway, that's what happened. That's the facts as far as I know. Black Westchester is not approve of the action of we're not saying that he should not be charged. He said to me himself, he knows that he was guilty for pushing that button. Even if it was for the reason he thought it was, he still pushed the button or pulled the lever or whatever. So he is guilty of that. And whatever the penalty is, he should have to pay that. But I don't think the punishment should fit the crime. Should be a fine or whatever it's going to be. Should be charged with a misdemeanor or whatever it's going to be. Should he be expelled from Congress like the Republicans say he should? They're talking about ethics and all this stuff when they have a guy named George Santos who has lied to them, lied to Congress, lied to everyone, um, committed fraud, and the very people who voted for him in his district, when they found out he lied, they say he needs to get out of office. That he needs to be step out. He needs to step down. He should not be congressman anymore. And they don't want him, and they definitely are not approving of his. They're not backing him for reelection. You can't. There's a double standard right now. There's a lot of rhetoric on both sides, and I know, and you need to pay attention to what's being said, and not just accept everything you hear. Look look up the facts yourself, the details yourself. Um, my brother is here. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Yes. yes, man. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? I don't understand.
So I can hear you. So I was just killing time. I did speak about the Jamal thing, and I did speak about the government shutdown thing, and I spoke about. Of course, you will not be surprised that News 12 did not run any of the important things that I said, and they asked me about the shutdown, and they asked me about Jamal Bowman, and they didn't run anything about. They didn't even run me in that part of the story. They only ran me about. They only ran 2-second clips of things I said about the government shutdown. So
really,
yeah. I just watched it. It's on the Power and Politics, the Sunday program.
So what did they did they play? What did they play you talking about?
The government shut. It was a dual thing. It was about the avoiding the government shutdown / Bowman pulling an alarm to delay the vote. So it was like a joint story. So they only used me in the beginning. They nicely put our logo up, Black Westchester, put editor-in-chief, did all that good stuff. And they had not even the best quotes that I said. I said the biggest thing, and we said this on the show, when it comes down to these government shutdowns, the people that are voting for it in Congress, their checks are not affected. Like if their checks, if they didn't vote in the government shutdown, they should not get paid either. And if that was the case, they would be a little more serious in making sure the government they don't care because it doesn't affect them. It affects like programs like WIC, like all the people, the mothers and kids, they get the WIC program.
Right. It affects the military. It affects
the military, but it doesn't affect their paycheck.
Right.
If it affected their paycheck, I think we would have a little more. It'd be handled a little bit differently. So I spoke on that, and they didn't show that clip.
Well, that's part of the hypocrisy in our democracy, man. Like that's part of the hypocrisy. So when we just look, we gotta vote, whether it's Democrats or Republican. We gotta vote people out. I was getting ready to say something else. We gotta vote people out because they're not doing. Let's as we talked about earlier, AJ. It's not about the label. It's about having good wine that's in the bottle with the label. So I think it's time for the people of America to look through the partisan BS, look through the pointing fingers, and really start asking the question, is our country going to be better within the next decade? We're not looking at that because every time you talk to one side, they're blaming the other side. And you talk to the other side, they're blaming the other side. But the average working person, the middle class Americans, their lives are not getting better. And let me tell you, and for the Democrats to always use racists, oh, they're racist. These people are racist. Like it's really going to affect black people. We've been dealing with racism and racist people since we came to the shore, since we was brought to the shore in America. It doesn't matter. Look, I could live around a whole bunch of racists. As long as my taxes are low and I'm able to feed my family and I'm able to take care of the needs of my family, the average black person can give two shits about a racist. They could give two shits because really a racist are cowards. They're cowards. They don't get strength until they're in numbers. But on the average day, a racist means nothing to a black person, especially when they're striving to have black excellence. So please, miss me with the racist shit. Show me how I could develop businesses. Show me how I could develop generational wealth.
I wanna interrupt you real quick. I want to play a short, I think it's a minute long clip of Ice Cube talking about they both said they need to earn our vote and speaking about exactly what you're talking about. And
exactly.
We'll pick it up on the other side.
And there's 42% of black businesses closing. None of that money. Where's our fucking bailout? Where's the bailout? Not the PPP loan that they didn't give us. Where's the bailout? I don't want to hear about deficit. I don't want to hear about what our generations gonna have to pay. Because if we don't have shit, they ain't gonna have shit anyway to pay nothing. So we gotta start something right now. Democrats don't seem like they got a plan. Republicans don't seem like they got a plan for us. So how the hell you gonna vote for them? Make them earn that vote. They can start today. They ain't got it yet. They can start today. Make their ass earn that vote, man. Stop playing with these people, and they'll stop playing with you.
Damon?
I totally agree. Look, dude, I have no problem with that. You know, the problem is I have with that is the fact that he was attacked by only Democratic and then females, right? He was attacked for saying that, and we know, right? The rule that's not talked about, that every other ethnic group gets something for their vote, but black people, we get nothing, right? The black community is the same as it was under Clinton. Nothing's literally changed in the black community, it's other than the fact that we own less of the real estate in black communities. So we can't sit here and act like that we gained something even under President Obama. What we gained is the understanding that as black men and women, we're able to debate the best minds in politics in the world. But what is the point of able to debate as a black man? Barack Obama debated the best minds in the world. But if we don't use that knowledge to create a safer, a better, a more sacred place to live in our communities, that means absolutely nothing. And we can't blame the Republicans for that. You know, bro, I think I've been saying this. I've been saying this since, you know, we was in Yonkers in the studio, that in conditions in the black community, you can't blame Republicans for that, especially when historically for the last 40 or 50 years, they've been Democrats. Take Mount Vernon, for instance.
I wrote an article, Decades of Decay of some of our major cities under Democratic rule.
Exactly. So how are we gonna sit and blame Democrats for it?
The problem with Mount Vernon, and I say this one thing and move on, we see the madness on a national level with the Republicans and the Democrats, and they can't get nothing done because they're not on the same side. In Mount Vernon, it's black Democrats against black Democrats. There are no white Democrats doing this. There are no white man holding us back. There are no Republicans. And the cause of this is black Democrats trying to politically decapitate other black Democrats. It's like the Bloods and the Crips. They get mad when I say that. But you can't blame the Republican Party for the state of Mount Vernon over the last several decades.
Yeah, but
you can't even blame the white man because, yes, it used to be Italian run, but you know what? It's been black run since Blackwood, and however many decades that, we've had 5 mayors since then. You can't blame that on the white man.
No, but it's easier for them to do it because we don't challenge the narrative as black people. We don't challenge the narrative, man. And that's the sad thing about it. We take it for what it's worth. But at this point in our stage of development of black communities, we should be able to discuss and openly discuss, the issues in our community. But we tend to sell out. Our politicians tend to sell us out. I had a meeting with a lawyer. Not going to say his name. He was eventually disbarred because he turned state's evidence on politicians.
Uh-huh.
But he said to me when he met me that he admired the work that I was doing. And he said, what was sad about black leadership in New York, that they sold their people out for nothing. Now, coming from a person who was a fixer, a political fixer, someone who was in these meetings, negotiating these little deals in the background.
In the room where it happens, yep.
In the room where it happens. Now, if y'all that are watching, if you do not understand what we mean by the room where it happens, that's that back room that things happen. And by the time we see it, it is already settled. So, for him to say that to me and him to mention certain names, it took me back because I had to really sit back and watch the actions of these people. And he was absolutely right. Black communities get sold out for nothing. Let me say something. Police brutality will never end. Why? Because there's too much money in it. They're not going to change policies. They're not going to correct the environment because there is too much money in police brutality. It's too many millions of dollars in police brutality. Why should they stop it? People like Tamika Mallory has made millions of dollars off police brutality and hasn't really done nothing but showed up and talked shit at a press conference. Right? So police brutality will never end because it's too much money in police brutality. Accountability will never actually be because there's too much money in that. Think about it. We're sitting here and they haven't passed laws. Like, I mean, when Eric Adams was a senator, at least he sponsored legislation. They're not even sponsoring legislation. So let's understand that. And we had this discussion, AJ, when people were saying, when Kenny Chamberlain won $5 million from the city of White Plains, they were saying, well, he won. He didn't win anything.
He just addressed that. Shout out to Kenny and Mayo. We were just at the Westchester Coalition for Police Reform gathering at Westpac Thursday night, and both Kenneth and Mayo spoke, and Damon's letter was read because he couldn't be there. That he sent to Kenny. Kenny did read it for you.
I know he was.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, and we had him on the show. Go back and watch a couple of episodes ago. Google it. It's on our YouTube channel. While he appreciates y'all when y'all say thank you, and congratulations, he knows where it's coming from, but there's no need to celebration. He didn't win anything. He didn't. No, the mayor that was the mayor is still the mayor. All the elected officials are still the elected officials. Actually, Ben Boykin's got a promotion. He's county legislator now. He was the councilman of that district. If you're not going to vote, like, nobody lost no jobs. No, there's been no change in legislation. There's no CCRB or anything in White Plains. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. The officers were actually allowed to retire, some of them.
Right.
No, there was no discipline to the officers. The man who killed Kenneth Chamberlain, he retired, right? I think he retired.
He retired, and then mysteriously, the witness to the police officers that called Mr. Chamberlain the N-word, the officer mysteriously had a car accident and died.
Right.
Like, come on. Like, really?
Right.
Like, are we supposed to believe that? And Mr. Chamberlain was a correction officer.
And a veteran, and a Marine.
And a Marine Corps veteran. And the sad thing about it is they wouldn't recognize him as part of law enforcement. They wouldn't recognize him. They would rather recognize him as a Marine than recognize him as a retired correctional officer.
As a Marine.
Huh?
They mocked him as a Marine.
Right.
They were saying like, right.
I'm saying overall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They never mentioned that he was a correction officer. His son mentioned it. They mentioned he was a retired Marine, but they never mentioned that he was in law enforcement. Because you know why? Because when it comes, and this segues into what we're about to talk about.
And our guest is here.
Because our guest is in the waiting room. When it comes to Black people and Black men that are within corrections, right? We are never looked at equally as our white counterparts over in the police department. And since I said that, I want to bring my brother in, the former president of New York City COBA, Elias, man, if I messed the name up, man, I'm sorry, brother. Hasmedine. I got you. Are you on mute, brother? Because I don't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. You are muted. Let's see if I can unmute you.
Hold on, let me see.
You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Try to unmute yourself, brother. Nope, you're still muted.
There you go.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
Nah, it's all right, brother. Welcome, man.
Wait.
Welcome.
First off, I wasn't even going to try to pronounce your last name. I want to know if David got anywhere near.
Yo, because I asked Charles like 3 times. I said, "Yo, brother, how do you pronounce his name?" And he told me like 3 times. And then today I jammed it up, man. I apologize, but thank you.
It's like being at roll call. The 34 years being a correction officer, they either skip my name or they say, "You know who you are." So it's Husamuddin.
Thank you, brother.
It's easier than it's Husamuddin.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, I'm gonna be saying Brother Elias, so you know
that's fine. Elias is fine. Elias is good.
Hey, listen, brother. I thank you, man. You know, we talked last night, and you know, I explained to you what was going on here in Westchester, but we also discussed that it's just not Westchester, right? No, it's all across New York State, and how correction officers are not respected for the work that we do. And coming from a brother who ran the largest correction union in you know, outside of New York State, of course, but you know, your experience even as a Black man, you know, dealing with the politics and dealing with trying to explain what we go through, you know, in the Department of Corrections. You know, I would shout out. I'm gonna let you, but one thing I want to say, you know, my brother Eric Adams, it was a press conference where he made a statement, and he was like, when police officers have attendance issues, you know, they never say that they're abusing the attendance policy. He said when it comes to corrections, that they come up with all type of different things that we're doing wrong. You know, and when he did say, he said, well, look behind me, you know, it's Black and brown, you know, and the inmates that's in the jail are Black and brown. He says, I'm going to leave it right there. Right. So he acknowledged it. You know, he acknowledged the difference in treatment, you know, and I give him that, you know, I give him them props for that. But we don't see that on the different levels of government. And I wanted you to come on from your experience, you know, and we need to talk to the young officers on how do we, you know, change the paradigm where we are seen as equal as police officers. And I'll let you talk.
I think that, first of all, thanks. I appreciate you for having me on. When we spoke last night, we definitely talked about quite a few things.
Exactly.
I think that when it comes to correction officers, I don't think it's just New York City. It's not a New York City, New York State problem. Believe it or not, it's a problem. I've been blessed to travel across the country and outside the country, visiting jails and dealing with criminal justice on different levels. And I find that whether it's in Oklahoma, Georgia, North Carolina, it doesn't matter. Corrections seem to be viewed in the same light, and that's a problem. And I think, like I said to you yesterday, it's a bigger problem that we see ourselves in this light than that other people see us in this light. And part of the reason why a lot of things happen to us that don't happen to our counterpart in the police department, a lot of it has to do with us. You and I talked about the contract negotiations, and the one thing that I've learned in my 34 years is that there's a saying in the collective bargaining world. They say that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
Exactly.
And the problem is sometimes if the person sitting on the other side of the table, the negotiation table, is not experienced, sophisticated, and honestly, sometimes a little bit cutthroat, you might walk away from the table with less than everybody else who may be doing the same job as you are. And what's happening, especially in New York City, New York State, is sometimes the legislators, whether it's the state, county, city, it doesn't matter. Sometimes they forget a couple of things when they're negotiating with us. Two things they forget. They forget recruitment and they forget retention. So when you cut these salaries and when you cut these benefits and you take things away, and then you turn around and you're trying to figure out why you're having a problem recruiting. Nobody wants this damn job if you're expecting me to perform the same duties as my counterpart in the police department, but you want to pay me $30,000, $40,000 less. You want to give me less benefits, and that's something sometimes politically that they have to be reminded of. They have to be reminded of that, and often you need, you have to be strong when you're sitting at that table. Absolutely. I was fortunate. I did 34 years in the New York City Department of Correction, 25 years in the union. And I was fortunate. I served with a great team and with a great group of people. Myself, my predecessor, Norman, we knew what we were doing. And we didn't necessarily have any problem taking, whether it was the mayor, the governor, whoever it was,
absolutely
taking them to task publicly, in the newspaper. It didn't matter what we had to do to get their attention to understand, because we often say that we're the police of the jails, and that is 100% true. We're responsible for enforcing law behind the bars, and our job is just as dangerous, if not more.
That's right.
Because not often is your job that you're one. In New York City, it's one correction officer for every 50 inmates.
Exactly. Well, we're about the same. we're about the same, brother. Exactly.
And there are places where they don't have direct supervision. Like you go to Los Angeles County Jail, there are a lot of places they don't have direct supervision. Meaning, in New York City, where the 50 are, we're right there walking around with them.
Absolutely.
We're not behind a plexiglass. We're not behind, we're not looking at them from a distance.
That's what they do in a lot of states. That's right.
There.
That's right. That's right.
And the job is dangerous. And don't get me wrong. I mean, 97% of the inmates do what they're supposed to do. They don't really give us problems. Most of them want to get their time in and get the hell out.
Get out. That's right.
It's just that small 3%, 2-3% who think they're still in the streets, who want to operate as if they're still running the streets, and that can be a dangerous situation if not handled correctly. So, and what we were talking about as far as pay is concerned, someone have to say to your state legislator, your county execs, hey, you're not going to treat us different. You're not going to pay us less than you're paying someone else. And I don't know what the makeup in Westchester is. I know in New York City, the majority, probably 80%, 85% of correctional officers are African American Latino.
It's basically
almost 60% of women.
Right. It's basically it's almost the same, right? Historically, since 1992, the African American Advisory Board report to then County Exec Andrew O'Rourke. Westchester County Department of Corrections employed more Black men than any civil service department in Westchester County. So it has remained that way. And former county legislator Chris Johnson, he had to report the county police was 78% white male, right? So we see the disparities, which nobody really wants to have the conversation about, and we see how the treatment is, And I've said it out loud. I was on the police reimagining task force by Governor Cuomo. and they interviewed county police, the head of county police training, and the head of corrections training, Captain Bowler, and we came out the better trained. I was there.
Wow.
So it's not even, it's not even my opinion. It was the opinion of the committee.
Right.
So how do we come out in their own report, better trained, we're nationally accredited, which county police is not nationally accredited, and then they offer us less money? Like, that is a slap in the face. It's almost like you're allowing us to run at higher standards than our counterparts, but you don't want to give us the same raises. And we understand the disparity, but if we're going to get raises, we should get the same.
I mean, in New York City for a long time, they attempted to maintain what they call pay parity.
Right.
Where whatever you get, I get.
Right.
And, for a long time, the police unions have been trying to break away from that. Not mad at them, because if you can get more for your people, that's your job.
Exactly.
When I was president of the union, it was my job to represent correction officers and no one else. So basically, that's who I represented, and that's who I was going to fight for. But sometimes honestly, Damon, it was a team thing, because there's certain things that the union is not in a position to talk about, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely.
It's just not. For instance, as the president of COBA, I didn't only represent Black officers.
Exactly.
I represented Hispanic officers, Asian officers, Irish officers, Italian officers. So there were certain things that, I was responsible for addressing that affect us all. And then there were other things where you need help to address a situation. You need someone that let's just say the Guardians, Hispanic Society, Columbia. So somebody that can come out and say, whoa, why are we being treated this way?
Exactly.
Why is this being done? But despite that, overall, the union can say, we are not settling for that. And right now in the country, all of a sudden, we have everybody love unions. The guy that just left the White House love unions. The guy that's in the White House love unions. In New York City, they're all the UAW, and But if that's not manifested at the bargaining table, then it's pomp and circumstance.
Exactly.
It's smoke and mirrors, and it's shit. Is this public? Well, I won't curse. If it's not,
you can if you want to.
You can.
We don't have FCC,
brother. This is the type
if it's not negotiated at the table, then it's BS.
No,
then all they're doing is shucking, jiving, tap dancing for you, and for the most part, they're just lying to you, because this stuff have to be done at the negotiation table. Don't tell me that I'm the bravest. Don't tell me that I'm the boldest. Don't tell me I'm the finest. And then when we get in the negotiating room behind the doors, you're saying, I'm not giving you that. You're not worth that.
Exactly.
And sometimes it ain't even got nothing to do with the budget. Because they act this way even when the budget is good.
Listen, brother, we know.
I'm sorry, I'm just going on.
No. But we know. They make what happens, whether it's in the budget or not. If they want it to happen, they want it to happen. So they find money. They find money for everything else. And I'm 33, you 34. We've been here. We've been here long enough to see that if they want it to happen, they can find the money. Any municipality does. They do that if they want it to happen, right? So when they tell us that there's no money involved, they don't have the money, we know it's not true. Right. We know it's not. You just don't want to. You just don't respect us enough to give us that extra 4%, extra 5%, or whatever extra to have that parity in yearly raises. You just don't want to give us, or you just rather us fight for it.
Right. And the thing is, sometimes you genuinely have to take your argument to the people.
Exactly.
And you have to hope and pray that the people support you, that the people also believe in your worth. And like I said, contract, I've negotiated along with my team 8 contracts with the city of New York for on behalf of correction officers over the last 25 years. And we've done well. And it's only now actually that all of a sudden things are changing. Like in New York City right now, New York City NYPD recruit new police officer in the academy. He's coming into the now with $55,000. A New York City correction officer is coming into the academy with $47,000.
Really?
So this is not something that's just going on in other counties, other places. And it just goes back to my opening where I'm saying that you don't get what you deserve. You know, you get what you negotiate. And if you're not a skilled negotiator, and if you don't know how to read the tea leaves, and if you don't know when to roll up, fold up, back up, push forward, you're going to get ran over in that world of politics. And it's just important that you guys continue to do what you're doing and exposing and bringing it out, because it's kind of hard to say the report that you read to say that the correction officers are actually better trained, but we're not going to pay you. We're going to pay the ones who are not as trained as you are more than we're going to pay you, who's more trained or better trained. And, you know, you got a lot of places in this country where you have to go through corrections before you even hit the streets.
That's right.
You have to spend time in jail before you even hit the streets. Because if you talk to most police managers and commanding officers, I've heard too many of them say, I love when I have one of my police officers who's a former correction officer, because they just seem to handle themselves better. You know, they seem to have a better grip when it comes to de-escalation or understanding, you know, the community or the people that they're dealing with.
Because y'all don't have guns. Y'all don't have guns and the weapons and the stuff that police have to them. Y'all have to figure that out without that.
Real quick. Real quick. Because as a correction officer, you could be sitting down and it's 10 o'clock, and at 10:03 you have a full riot on your hand. And it's just you and maybe sometimes one other person in there, and you have to be able to hone your skills. You have to be able to communicate and know who's who you're dealing with, who you're not dealing with, what's what. All of that is worth money. All of that is worth money. And and you just have to know how to put that on the table. For instance, I negotiated for a correction officer in New York City to wear body cameras. And the contract that I did. Now, I caught flack from some of my members and from others, but we didn't just do it for free. When I negotiated that, we received a benefit for that. We received something for that. And I also negotiated because I felt like body-worn cameras did more to protect correction officers' job than it did to take it away. Because honestly, the cameras don't lie. And you know, after explaining it to the members, most of them were like, "Oh, we get it. We understand." But it's not something that you give away for free. No. When you're at the negotiation table, there's a price for that.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a price. If you're gonna negotiate 12-hour tours for your members, that's not free.
Exactly.
There's a price for that. And that all should come out during the negotiations, because nothing's free. The reality is it saves the city, the state, millions of dollars when they can do 12-hour tours.
Absolutely.
But you have to know these things. You have to have enough experience been around long enough to know the foundation or to have the institutional knowledge.
Right.
You have
Right.
to know you have to know the house that you're living in, that you're working in, where you spend time. And like I said, you guys, Damon, you're in a position here where you're gonna have to help them. They need help.
Listen, this is what
The
this is the
the
reason we
the
doing the show, bro.
legislators need to know that
Right.
we see you.
Right.
We see you, and we're not gonna let you do this to us, active or retired.
Right. No, and I'm not going to accept it. Because of the fact that when you put as many years as we put in, and then you see a government that say they're liberal, administration that says they're liberal, and they say that, oh, we respect everybody's equality, yada 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 yada. But then when it comes to pay, you see the department that's majority black and brown, and the majority that's better trained by their own report, and we get less. That's you're not living up to what you say you are,
Absolutely,
and that's disrespectful.
And I'm going to tell you, it's a word that I hate, but I'll use it anyway. Systemic, I don't like this word, or what it's become. But
right.
when you look across the country, I have this thing that I call the American DNA, right? Like,
Right.
depending on how old you are, when you see a firefighter, depending on how old you are, where you are, that DNA, when you see that red truck, that
Right.
yellow truck, depending on where you
Right.
live, and they
Right.
going and they're getting fluffy out the tree, and they
Exactly.
pulling grandma out the window, and they digging daddy out the hole, and
Exactly.
that's the type of love that's in the DNA for
Right.
firefighters in this
Exactly.
country.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you are, for police officers, they're the ones that's coming to save you. They're the ones that's going to find your missing daughter. They're the ones that's going to protect you against this, against that, depending on where you are.
Right.
And what's in the American DNA for police officers is mostly love.
Right.
When it comes to correction officers, it's either prison guard, jail guard, and it's Orange is the New Black. It's Shawshank Redemption, and it's the Green Mile.
Right.
And
Right.
when you
And all
look
that
at
other
what's in the
craziness. Right.
DNA,
Yeah. Exactly.
when you look at what's in the DNA for us, it's not that type of love. So
Right.
we always have to fight. It's almost like what's her name in The Color Purple? All my life I had to fight.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
we're continuously fighting for raises.
Can I
We
ask
fight
a
for
question real quick?
equipment.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
So I don't want to interrupt. So
No.
What we've done shows like this before, and one of the things I brought up, and I wanted to get your take on it. What you said was true. When the firefighters go out, the people see the firefighters what they do. When the cops go out, the people see what they do. Y'all are inside. Most of the people never see what y'all do.
Right.
Do you think that has something to do with the lack of respect and because the people and the politicians come from the people, so they don't see what you do. You know what I'm saying? So they don't fully understand what you do.
And see, that is part of the DNA. That is absolutely part of the problem. And here it is. Corrections, we haven't done the best job at representing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is, when you start talking about reform, criminal justice reform, jail reform, the part that correction officers play is amazing, but there's really no one out there talking about it. For instance, you're never, ever going to have reform. You're never, ever going to reduce the recidivism rate if you don't talk and deal with correction officers. Police officers can't do crap for the recidivism rate, and no one else can't do anything. Think about it. They're with us 99% of the time, they're with a cop for an hour.
That's right.
Maybe. They're with the DA for 30 minutes. They're with the judge for maybe 20. And to what you're saying, it's not going to be until those in the correction field begin to understand who they are and what they really represent. In my 34 years of working in correction, I have never seen a jail filled with carpenters, plumbers,
Exactly.
electricians, not even barbers and beauticians.
Exactly.
But I've always seen a jail filled with poorly educated, usually only up to an 8th grade education, but mostly, brother, unskilled.
That's right.
Unskilled.
That's right.
And in the jails, in the prisons, correction officers have the ability and the potential to change that. But we have to be able to express that. We have to be able to show people. I was on a panel in Albany, and you guys could stop me because I'll go on. I was on a panel in Albany.
Go, brother, because
and
this is a teaching session.
I was on a panel in Albany, and Richard, what's his name? The brother, Rodney, the police commissioner that was here in New York, and he's in Suffolk County, Richardson.
Yeah, I think.
And Eric Gonzalez, the Brooklyn DA, and somebody else was on the panel. And I said to them, I said, no disrespect. The panel was about reducing recidivism and criminal justice reform. And I said to them, I said, no disrespect. You guys don't belong on this panel. I don't want cops working on reducing recidivism. I want them fighting crime.
Right.
I want the district attorney, once the cops catch them and they're guilty, I want them to prosecute them. Now, I catch flack even from my own people when I say stuff like this, but I don't care. I want the district attorney to prosecute them.
Right.
If you want to talk about reducing recidivism and fixing the system, criminal justice reform, you have to talk to the correction officer, to the parole officer, and to the probation officer.
Exactly.
Those are the 3 people who should be at the head of the table.
Right.
Why? The probation officers with them when they're home, in the street, still on probation. Correction officers with them all damn day, 24 hours a day while they're locked up, and the parole officers with them. And who is in a better position to actually sit down and have a conversation about reducing recidivism or criminal justice reform? And the problem is, there's so much money in it, which is why you find the other people so heavily involved in this, because there's a lot of money in this. But my attitude is they don't. Michael Jackson say, all I want to do is say they don't really care about us. They don't really care.
Right.
They don't really care.
But yeah, but the question is, when you look at even the municipalities, even the counties, the different counties, we are still, if you look at individual counties, we are still the largest law enforcement union in those counties when it comes to the sheriffs or corrections. But we don't wield political power. We should wield political power when you add the active officers. I mean, New York City has always did a great job. And I was talking to a former coworker of mine earlier today. New York City Corrections has always did a great job in merging the retired officers with the active officers with the agenda of what the union was about. I see a lot of unions that once the people retire, the unions don't keep them involved, with what's going on.
Smart unions.
Right. New York City does it great, and there's a book called Police Union Politics, Confrontation in the 21st Century. And one of the chapters in it was to make sure that your retirees was involved in the political activity. If something went wrong, they were the ones that make the phone calls, right? Because they're retired. Right?
Absolutely.
They can make the phone calls to the politicians. They could be active in doing a lot of things and then recognize them. A lot of unions don't do that. Like they don't involve the retirees to be part of the agenda and part of the fight.
Well, the thing is, it's really not. It's really not something for people, who. Here's the reality: politicians and whoever else have to know that we're gonna wreck your world.
Exactly.
We are going to wreck your world. Now, because all we're asking for is what we should have and what's due us.
That's right.
And if you are not willing to do that, then we're going to do everything in our power. We're going to take all of our money, as much as our money, and we're coming for you.
Exactly.
And we don't care.
Exactly.
Even if we lose and you win, you're going to know
exactly
that you were in a fight, and you're never going to screw with us again. You're just going to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not bothering with them. Whatever it is, yes. Because the reality is, look, man, you don't get what you deserve. You don't. Not only in unions, in life.
That's right.
In life.
That's right.
In life.
That's right.
Closing Rikers. They're talking about closing Rikers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the dumbest shit I have ever heard in my life. Closing Rikers.
Right.
We're in a city of 8.1 million people, right? We're never going to have less than 3,300 people in our jails.
Right.
But they're saying shut down Rikers, open 4 borough facilities that can only hold up to 3,300 people. As opposed to saying, let's take a look at Rikers. Instead of closing, like I have a proposal, and your listeners, when they get a chance, just go to RikersReset.com. It's RikersReset.com. That's my proposal for Rikers. In my proposal, Damon, I said we don't need 400. Rikers is 420 acres. In my proposal, I said we don't need 420 acres. We can do 100 acres for Rikers Island, and we could build 15 buildings, and only 4 of those buildings need to be jails.
Right.
One of those buildings need to be a mental health facility.
Absolutely.
Another one of those buildings need to be transitional housing, transitioning back into the community.
That's right.
Another one of those buildings should be for job training, vocational. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 63. When I was in junior high school, they taught us home ed.
That's right.
Wood shop, printing, all these things where you could literally go out and get a job. Right now, I just read a Forbes magazine thing, and they said that there's 33% of the jobs that AI won't be able to really touch. Guess what those jobs are? They're not college jobs.
That's right.
Electrician, plumbers.
Exactly.
Those type of jobs. And I think one of those buildings should be where we teach the incarcerated people, so that when they go home, because it's like Stokely Carmichael said years ago in one of his speeches. He was like, if you're going to educate me to live in my community, then teach me about the things that's in my community. If pimps is in my community, teach me how to be a good pimp. If drug dealers, the reality is when we go home, when these guys go home, they're barbershops. They're barbershops. They're beauty parlors. They're restaurants. They're different things that they can literally immediately get right into. And whether they can actually create a job for themselves.
Exactly.
Or they can. So the reality is we can redo Rikers. And a couple of them got mad because I said, if China can build a skyscraper in 6 months.
That's right.
And the Arabs can build an entire goddamn city in the desert.
Exactly.
Why the hell can't New York City take 420 acres or 100 acres and make it something that really would reduce recidivism and really would reduce the number of people in jail? But that's the type of thing we got to talk about.
Yeah, and we have to because, and I might make some people mad in saying this, but it's people that don't look like us that are in charge of these programs. So and they can't even relate. How are you going to do programs for young black kids and you ain't never been in the projects? You ain't never been in 4th Street Park. You ain't never been in Slow Bombs in Yonkers. You have no clue what those communities look like, and you're creating programs. You want to have dogs. No, they need discipline, not dogs. Right? They need to understand the responsibility of being a man. And like you said, they took like, I don't know, like in Westchester, communities like Mount Vernon and Yonkers, the majority black communities, they took those programs, the shop and the mechanics and all those that we're talking, electrician and plumber. They took those BOCES classes out of the high school, put them in the North, where these young kids they didn't even have transportation to get to the place to learn it, right? So you don't even put it in the schools, but then you don't even want to put them in the jails, well, because them kids can't get those, so they end up robbing, stealing, and shooting, right? And you don't even have it in the jails.
See,
because they don't understand our culture. Stop having people that don't understand black culture in charge of the programs to make them better citizens.
And the thing is, we also have to deal with those of us that look like us, who've been out of the damn neighborhood so long they ain't in touch. They out of touch as well. Exactly. I mean, I'm telling you, we got 51 city council members in New York City, and my God, sometimes I listen to them and I'm like, who are these people and where the hell did they come from? And Damon, they look like me, and they look like you. The ones who are fighting, the hardest. The closed Rikers, they look like me and you. And
I know they do. I've seen it.
When I sit down with them and I present my plan, and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, "Are you really interested in fixing this?" See, here's my thing.
They're not.
I'm one of 7. I got 5 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm the only brother out of the 5 that didn't do time. My other brothers did time, and they've been doing time going as far back as Coxsackie and this Home for Boys and Sparford. Exactly. They've been doing time a long time. I have a sister who did time, but a baby sister who's a CO. The reality is, like I tell these people when I sit with them, y'all ain't got nothing for me. There's not a whole lot that you're going to say to me because I understand it from both sides.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. I don't want my mother crying about me or my baby sister or my nephew who's a CO, my other nephew's a cop, no more than I want her crying about the one who's behind bars for committing some type of crime. Now, like I said, I catch flack sometimes from my own people because I'm sorry. I'm what you call a typical ghetto kid. You know, everybody talk about single parent and all this shit. Okay, got you. I'm check the box off. The reality is that, you know, we got to address each other and we got to address these things. And right now, standing in the way of real criminal justice reform is the city council speaker. Her name is Adrienne Adams. It's Jamani Williams. He's the public advocate. And it's a whole bunch of them. They're standing in the way, shut down Rikers, but they don't really have a real plan to replace it. The reality is, like Richard Pryor said in one of his shows back in the days, crime pays.
That's right.
Right.
It pays.
That's right.
And it's going to always pay.
That's
and the reality is we just got to be able to deal with it. But in all honesty, why is New York City recidivism rate higher than the nation's? And we're spending billions, all kinds of programs and all these nonprofits getting all this money, and our recidivism rate continue to be here.
Yeah, because
I
first of
mean,
all them organizations are connected politically, so they get, and then they don't know what they're doing. Like
and there's no,
they have no clue. They're just collecting money. It's almost like money laundering, right?
and
Because
it's no gatekeeper.
exactly,
Right.
There's no gatekeeper.
exactly.
If you come to the city, Damon, with your nonprofit, your crew, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, and they give you $1 million. And at the end of the year, there's nobody to come to you and say, okay, Damon, what
Show
have
me
you
what.
done? Show me the money. Show me what you've done. There are no gatekeepers.
Mhm.
Listen, right now, New York City Department of Correction is a $2.1 billion agency.
Wow.
And they have under 6,000 inmates. And it's 2.1 billion last I checked. Why? And
Because
the
money.
reality is the agency's 85% black and Latino, the leaders are Latino, the leaders are black. And the
Right.
reality is, how serious are we? And
No.
how much of these people ways have we adopted?
Well, that's in Westchester too, right? That's in Westchester too. They want to say, oh, we got the first Latino first deputy commissioner, and then we got a black deputy commissioner, and we got this and we got that. Yeah, but what are you actually changing and bettering the community in the
Right,
fact of racism and making people go out? And then the fact that
right,
your rank and file is black and brown, and you don't even respect them for that. So
right.
it's a bunch of BS. And sooner or later, these correction departments, they got it, man. They got to say something. I don't understand, and I know there's going to be people that are watching, and I don't understand why we are allowed to continue this nonsense. We are allowed to continue it. It doesn't make any sense.
I think that I think we got to take a look at the generations. I think we got to take a look at the generations. Like when we start talking about millennials, we start talking about Gen Y and Gen Z and baby boomers. I think we got to take a look because it has a lot to do with what's going on now and how we handle things and what's really important generationally.
Right.
You know, a lot of us came up in a house with 2 or 3 generations in that one house or that one
Mhm.
apartment. And we knew that grandpa or grandma wasn't having it at
Right.
all.
Right.
And we
Right.
knew that our mothers was afraid of them and wasn't going to really bother them. We don't have those dynamics anymore, to
No.
be very honest with
No,
you.
we don't.
Like and I know every generation is supposed to get better, but we got to take a look at it because here's the thing, right? The 6,500 inmates in New York City jails right now, they're not turnstile jumpers. They're not open containers.
Right. Right. Right.
They're with the new bail reform and all that stuff.
Right. Right.
The ones that are there for the most part,
Right.
you don't want out here. I don't give a shit
Exactly.
how black you
Exactly.
are.
Exactly.
I was just getting ready to say that earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you. Going second part of what I was saying. Cops, you said the cops are with them for like an hour or so. The judges, but y'all are inside with the people that society, law enforcement, and everyone else deemed needs to be the hell off the street and incarcerated. Like y'all are not, you know what I'm saying? Like you just said, you're not,
Yeah.
not for smoking a joint now, or not for, well, that's legal now. Not for
Right.
murderers and rapists and
Right.
real shit. Like I mean, and that's who y'all are in with every day. Like you understand what I'm saying? And
And
y'all are the ones trained, nationally accredited, and and trained to deal with mental health, because as the editor-in-chief of Black Westchester, I spoke to most police departments. Most police departments, the officers are not trained to deal with mental health individuals mentally, and they're not trained. There might be one or two people in the department, a few people, but the average cops are not trained. Y'all are trained for that. So I'm just saying the reason why y'all should get more, the reason why y'all should get equal, or at least, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, and it's up to our representatives.
Yeah, well, yes,
to ensure,
yes,
that everybody gets the picture, that everybody understands the what needs to be brought across the table. They said that according to the numbers, 51% of the inmates on Rikers Island suffer from some form of mental illness. The biggest number, the worst number is there's about 23% who suffer from what they call SMI, serious mental illness. Now, I don't want nobody to be under the opinion that every goddamn body that's locked up is there because they suffer from some goddamn mental illness. That's just not reality. To be honest, I know the politicians and they want to put it on that. Oh, they're all suffering from mental illness. Oh, they're bull.
Right.
But there is a number. And the reality, like you said, the reality is if under my proposal, if they build a 300-bed facility on Rikers Island to deal with the mentally ill, because you can't deal with them criminally for the ones who are mentally ill until you deal with their mental illness.
That's right.
And the reality is Bellevue don't want them. And Harlem Hospital don't want them.
Well, let me
and St. Luke's don't want them.
I had a situation, and I'll make it real quick. At my church, they had, the prayer thing, whatever. And there was one lady who came in. Her kid was arrested and was in Valhalla, where Damon worked. And he did what they said he did, but he has serious mental. He was one the SMI, the serious mental, whatever you said. He was in that category.
Right.
I was able to call at the time. Louis Molina was the deputy commissioner. I was able to call him and get him on the phone with the lady, and he was able to get him the kid into Mid Hudson. What's it called? Mid Hudson, Damon? Mid Hudson something.
Yeah.
Where to get the help that he needed, because he needed help. He didn't need the incarceration. Incarceration wasn't what he needed. He really needs serious help. And they was able to get that done. But we don't have enough of that. We don't have people that understand that. Are you still there, my brother?
Yes.
Okay, we just lost your camera.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I had to get me some light.
Oh yeah. I was gonna tell you, it's getting dark and dark in your room.
I had to get me some light.
I have to make sure I got a lot of light on me too, because if it gets too dark,
man, I got like 5-6 lamps blowing on my joint, man.
Go ahead. I wanted to say something about the leadership, and I'm not speaking from the position y'all have those positions y'all worked inside. I'm speaking from the outside and from media. Like, I know a lot of the people that are in those leadership positions, and I know them personally, and they don't get the word out. There's things that they might not be able to say, but there are people who can say it for them. And they don't utilize people like me to get the word out, because that's how you educate the public. That's how that's how you get all of that out. They're not doing a good enough job with that. And I've had that conversation with one or two people, so I'm not pinpointing one person. I've had that out with a few people.
Man, just say it. You had it out. You talked to Lonzo West and you talked to Pallone. Just say it.
Okay, well, both of those too. Yeah. Not just them, but yes, both of them too. Yes.
See, here's the thing, right? The reality is that the union just can't do it all. They can't. Despite how people see
feathers and stuff like that, like they don't want to ruffle feathers.
Well, sometimes we do, and sometimes we have to. But the reality is, like I said earlier, there's certain times when the union need help too.
Mm.
Your preacher need help too.
It's
Your
that.
imam need help.
That's
Your
right.
rabbi need help.
But
There's
if
That's right.
times
you don't tell people
there's
you need
times-
help, you can't get the help. If you don't tell
there are
them you need
times
it,
when- well, no, that's true. But the reality is, it's like I don't want to say like back in the days, but there was a time not too long ago when you didn't have to say I need help
right.
because there were people out there doing a particular job, ensuring that a particular thing is done. And I'm going to tell you, right? I don't really talk about when it comes to what I did and what I do. Racism is real. I'm not Tim Scott.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
it's real. But what's more real is that support system, man.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like the members have to support the union. They
Mhm.
got to support the union. They got to support the union leader. It is true that the union leader sometime might have to come out and say, God, because we did it. There were times we put 100 people on the steps of City Hall. There were times when we had 2 or 3 buses heading up to Albany. There were times when we were like, look, they not listening, and this is what we're going to do. But at the same time, you had those warriors, those soldiers out there who you didn't have to tell, hey, guys, they got my back against the wall. Hey, guys, I need help. And one of the things that I'm telling you that unions suffer from is sometimes their members forget that they're the actual union.
Mm.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
the members forget. Like we had 10,000 members, but 12,000, there was only 10 board members. Come
Right.
on, there was 10 board members, but there
Right.
was 12,000 members.
Right.
And
Right.
the reality is you better be able to recognize when somebody's trying to pick your pocket.
Mm.
Like you better be able to recognize when somebody's trying to take your benefits.
That's right. That's right.
One of the things that I was blessed as a union leader, we had union members, but they were baby boomers. They're a different generation. When we used to walk into jails and there was a problem, they would meet us at the front gate, and their thing
Exactly.
was, "What y'all need?
Exactly.
What we doing?
Exactly.
What y'all need me to do?"
Exactly.
This particular
No.
this particular generation, they're different. They're like, "What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Y'all here? What you gonna do about it?"
You know what? We in the black community, I had this conversation recently.
Exactly.
Like our parents fought for civil rights. They didn't have the right to vote. They didn't have the right to do all these things. They fought for it. We
Right.
were born with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of us didn't do a good enough job teaching the kids, what they need to fight for. So what we were born with, they was born with even more. You know what I'm saying? And they never been without any of this stuff. They never had to fight for this stuff. They just were born with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
and that's one of the things that.
Well, yeah,
that's
they don't
one of
care.
the things that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, and we raised them.
Right.
We raised them. We're the ones who told them you ain't got to put. You don't have to put up with that.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You ain't got to do that. So you got our kids now. They be like, the hell with this job, and they move on to the next one. I don't have my mental health is very important to me. My mental being, boom, 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 boom. We came from a generation where we just was gonna knuckle up and we just was gonna run through we were going through the wall. And
totally.
It's different
yes,
now.
Sir. And let me tell you, if
unions are experiencing that.
If you didn't show up to a union meeting, you got threatened. If you ain't show up to a rally, you got threatened. Like when I came in, them senior officers threatened the hell out of us. We had to show up to union meetings. We had to show up if there was a rally or any type of thing.
Yes.
You better you better show up. And it wasn't. And let me tell you something. It wasn't just the officers. You got put on a fucked up post from the supervisors if you ain't show up.
Yes.
It was more of the supervisors and the correction officers had more of a unity. Now this shit is like fucking IBM.
Yeah,
it's like working for corporate America. Supervisors don't give a fuck about you.
And that's why I said,
exactly, man. It's crazy.
Different generation, but the struggle is still the same. You know, the fight is actually still the same. What we're fighting for is still the same. So you know, but I will not. I don't make excuses for union or union leaders. Nobody made excuses for me and those people that I serve with. But I will say that I will openly say that there's a different there are different dynamics here. There's different things that's going on. And for instance, a 401k and a pension.
Right.
The newer generation would readily take a 401k over a pension.
Exactly. Like what the hell is
because all they've known are 401k.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what they know. Like during contract negotiation, there were times when the city was trying to offer a 401k, and we're not doing that. We're gonna stick with the pension, the pension plan.
Exactly.
And the reality, and what I'm saying is, like, there's this big educational thing that have to go on, because some of the things that were of importance to my generation and my parents' generation is not important to this generation.
Right.
At least not in their mind.
Right.
You know, and it's like it's a struggle, brother. But to talk about what you're talking about, correctional officers deserve to be paid exactly whatever county, municipality, I don't care. Correctional officers, wherever they are, and I'm retired, but wherever they are, they deserve fair play. But you are not ever going to get away with having to fight for it.
Exactly.
And having to have to get because and having to have to let somebody know, okay, you're not gonna give it to me. You ain't gonna be there this time around. And don't get me wrong. You know, there's certain things I'm just tired of hearing. You know, the threats and the, you know, I'm not really too, you know, but the reality is that the message got to be given to the people, active and retired, have to fight, because the active members continue to take care of the retired members.
That's right.
Regardless of whether they believe it or not. You know, we keep that. We're paying into that pension. We're keeping that money in there. We're paying those of us who have a 401k. We're putting that in there, and that's keeping things moving. That's keeping people alive. So the reality is,
look, I like my pension. I just got my first check. I like
you and me both. You and me both, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not mad about it at all. And like I said, you know, we work for it.
Right.
Like, I contributed to my pension. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't even allow people that make me think it's some kind of handout. Motherfucker, I paid every 2 weeks. They took money out of my check for my pension. So I worked for this. Yes, they invested it. Yes, they put it in a pot with everybody else and made it grow. But it was my money, and I worked for it. You know, but you got this platform, Damon, and one of the ways, in my opinion, my humble opinion, one of the ways for you to help the union is you got to get the message out that they may not be able to get out. And look, here's the reality, right? Relationships are funny. When I was in the union, there were certain people, my members, and certain other people, they didn't talk to me. They had no rap for me, you know, and fair enough, there was some of them I ain't had a whole lot of rap for either.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we were all on the same job.
That's right.
And we were all fighting for the same thing. And sometimes you end up having to fight for people despite of them.
Right.
sometimes you have to fight for people
and
on behalf of people despite them. Because
Right.
let me tell you, it's lonely at the top. I learned that the hard way. You know,
Right.
when you're the president of these unions and you're in, let me tell you something. It's lonely. When people say that, a lot of people don't understand what that means. You
Right.
know, your circle becomes smaller.
That's
And it's
right.
not because you want it to.
Right.
It's just that you get to a point where you don't know who's coming, why they're coming, whether they're really coming for you or whether they're coming because they want something else. And you know, sometimes we start to, what do you call it? Remove ourselves from things
Right.
that we was once, 100% in. We used to go here all the time. We don't go no more. We used to go over
Right.
there because now when we go, people want to talk our ear off. They don't even
Right.
want to let us sip our Hennessy or smoke a cigar or
Exactly.
just sit down and relax. You know, they want something
Exactly.
or they want to talk about something. And it's
Exactly.
like I would be with my wife. In the beginning, my wife was like, "My God, we're in the supermarket, people. Can we just shop? Or we're at the hospital." And you get in those positions sometimes and you end up lonely.
Right. Right.
Other than the people that you've always had, that's
Right.
always been. But all of that to say, sometimes you gotta help. You gotta help the leadership. Harriet Tubman said, what she said? She said that she would have freed more slaves if they knew they were
They know they
slaves.
was
I
slaves.
was just gonna say I got the shirt on, and I was just gonna say it's the same. It was
We
the
are.
same thing back then.
No. And
Exactly.
the thing with unions, sometimes, you gotta help them. Sometimes they don't even know how to call for help. Or sometimes because
Mm.
they feel a certain way about you. I
Right.
don't like this one, or I don't like her,
Mm.
or I'm not,
Right.
they one thing with me and Norman, I'll name him. Me, Norman, and we didn't play too many games.
Right.
If we were with you, we were with you.
Exactly.
If we
I
wasn't,
remember, I
we
remember
wasn't.
it all. Absolutely.
We would help you even when we didn't like you
Right. Right.
because we understood the mission
Right.
and we understood that the mission wasn't just about us or you.
You
The
understood the
mission was
assignment.
about
Yep.
the people. And right, like the kids said, we understood the assignment and we enjoyed it.
Mhm.
You got a lot of
Right.
leaders in position of leadership who don't
Don't
enjoy it.
enjoy.
They're
Exactly.
there because
Exactly.
they have to be there.
Right. Exactly.
You gotta, but that's the deal, brother.
I can relate because doing the work that I do is a lot. What you said is, it's not. It's kind of lonely. Like it's not.
It really is.
And
It really
people come to you with their agenda, and when they want something and they want to, you don't really. You
Yeah,
got
and
those
it's
people
like,
that's down with you. You got that. My circle gets smaller. My inner circle gets smaller and smaller, and I have to thin out the herd around me more and more and more. And it's a shame. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah,
and
and
it's not even that you want. It's not even that you want to, but
nah.
after a while, it's like, who are you? Who the hell are you? It's like that Big Pun song where you say, "I don't know you. Go
Exactly.
that way." Like it's like,
Exactly.
it's just funny. It's just
Let me let
funny,
me
man.
let me ask you a question for
So y'all
people.
got to keep fighting, Damon. You got to help them.
Well, I'm
And
trying, brother.
you got to help them.
I'm trying to do what I could do.
Got to help them.
And
Gotta
I
help
got and look, I got some tricks up my sleeve down the road, but we're gonna make it happen, man, because when you put 30 some odd years into a place and and you see the general disrespect, man.
Yes.
It's and I know on my page that people that's watching, there's a couple of retirees that commented, like
Right.
we're good, but but we're in a position that they're not in a position to say some shit about it.
Right.
And
A
we
lot
have
of
to.
time. Yes.
Yeah, and we have to, but I just think we just need more organizing in Westchester.
Yeah.
We just need to get the retirees part of what we're doing, those that have the history, because I think right now they're cut off from the history because a lot of the union leadership and a lot of the people that are there, they really don't know the history
No,
of
they don't.
corrections.
Right.
So I think we need to try to figure something out that we can connect the history and let them know the corrections didn't start in 2018.
Right.
Right. When you got the job, correction didn't
Right.
start in 2018 when you started working. Right.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that went down way before, probably before you was born.
Way
Right.
before.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So we have to break that barrier, right? So they can understand that senior officers, and that's placated by management. You don't have to listen to the senior officer, all that stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But we have to really understand that, a lot of senior officers, a lot of retired officers have a lot of experience, and the game doesn't change. It's just new to you. We've been through the game. We see it all the time. Right.
Like I had a meeting with a couple of city council people, they're friends. And I said to them, look, I served under 5 mayors. I served under 5 mayors when I was a correction officer. I seen 44 years of Rikers Island. So the shit that you're saying to me,
exactly,
like, I don't know where you got it from. Like, I served under Koch and Dinkins and Bloomberg and Giuliani and the last one, de Blasio.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Rikers Island under 5 different decades, which is why when I hear people say, "Oh, there's decades of systemic abuse on Rikers," and I look at them and I say to myself, "What are they talking about? Like, what are they talking about?" Because I was there. You're not. I'm not storytelling.
Right.
This is not third hand. This is not the gospel according to, somebody that wasn't there. This is the gospel according to a person that actually served, that was actually there, in the mix and part of the starting 5 always. Right. So the reality is, institutional knowledge, no substitute for institutional knowledge.
That's right.
And you got to ask yourself, why do they want this island closed? This is what they say. The jails is discrepant. They're falling apart. I guarantee you, in New York City, give me a camera. I'll take you to a school in the city. When it's raining outside, it's raining in the school.
Absolutely.
I'll take you to Rikers Island, to a jail. When it's raining outside, it's raining in the jail.
Same way in Westchester.
The ceiling is falling in. I'll take you to some precincts in New York City. That's horrible. So I listen to the arguments that they present. This is all fluff. This is all fluff. It can't be. That's what it is. Now, like I said, we don't need the whole 420 acres. Like I said, let's do 100 acres. Let's take the other 300 acres. Let's make a deal with LaGuardia. Because y'all know y'all want to extend the runway. Y'all know y'all want to do some different things. Take it. But what we going to get in return? Y'all going to give us money and y'all going to help us as far as reducing recidivism. We ain't going to have to depend on taxpayers' dollars. Exactly. We're going to have that money because we're going to treat criminal justice reform as an investment.
Exactly.
As an investment. Guess what? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
No. I wanted to ask both of y'all, for people, there's people watching, and there's people that will watch. They're not in law enforcement. They're not in corrections. They really want to help. The average listener, the average resident, the average voter, what can they do to help the situation that y'all have been describing extensively
here? Here's what I'm going to say. Pick up the phone. Call your city council, call your mayor, call your governor, call your exec, call the governor. Go to these churches and say to them, look, I know you want to save my soul. Go to the mosque, the temple, whatever. I know you're interested in my soul, but can you help me eat? Can you help my son eat? Can you help my daughter? Can you help us with this cause? Here's what the cause is. There are not too many people who don't have correction officers in their family, don't have police officers in their family. And if you really genuinely care about them, pick up the phone and call them and say, listen, what do you need me to do? If you guys are going to the steps of City Hall, let me know. I'm going to go with you. If you guys are going up to Albany, let me know. I'm going with you. If you're going to the county exec's office, let me know. I'm going with you. You need some, we don't even do letters no more. So if you need some email and some text and some phone calls to be made, and when my ballot come, if you say that this guy gotta go, I'm with you. I'm with you. The whole thing is, though, you can't go to your family with BS.
That's right.
People could spot BS a long way away. You got to be real about it. The reality is to answer your question, that's how you could help. Every time, here's what I say to people when I was president of the union. Every time one of these candidates come to your church, all I want you to do is ask them a question. What about correction officers? What are you going to do for them? What about the jail? How are you going to ask them? Don't let them leave that place, your community center, your church, your mosque, your temple, without knowing I see you.
Exactly.
You know, I think that'll be a good start.
Exactly. Look, I'm gonna put up right here. This is the next county legislators meeting, Monday, October 2nd.
There it goes.
Monday, October 2nd.
Come on.
Everything.
Come on.
Yeah, everything Brother Elias said, and let me tell you, Brother Elias, I've been saying it, right? I've been saying this to correctional, especially in the penitentiary, because that's where I worked at.
Right.
You know, I would say if you take one meeting, one meeting, and you go there 30 minutes early, and they allow 10, 15 people to speak, 3 minutes a person.
Right.
Right? You bring 25 people, you done pack the joint.
Yep.
Right? Everybody sign up. Right? And if you're not a speaker, defer your 3 minutes to the next person that you know. And I've been and if people are watching, y'all know I've been saying this in the pen. Because we have to speak up and we have to show them that we're upset. When you go there, you see people from all other Save the Whales,
right?
Save the Cats, all this other stuff, right? But and nothing, nobody's in there saying save correction officers, respect correction officers. And we need to do it. Police, they do it.
Right. Yeah, they do.
They do it. They will pack
and their wives,
right,
their grandparents,
exactly.
The assistant coach.
Exactly.
I worked with him for years. He's a great guy.
Exactly.
They all come out.
Exactly.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Well, that's true. But it also
but I'm saying, you're saying why the cops get more. That you just explained to me why they go out and do these things that corrections not doing.
But as the largest law enforcement union in Westchester, see, there's a threat. You will not get reelected because we will put our numbers to work.
And it's easier in Westchester than it is in New York City.
Exactly. And
it's so much easier to get that, to get that moving. And that's what I said. But Damon, brother, I gotta
thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Is
I know your wife's like, yo, you gotta get off that show, man.
I told her 30 minutes.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother.
My brother, I appreciate you sharing the knowledge.
You got
it, that's what we try to do here and get this, and that's how we try to teach the people and have these conversations that need to be had. So I thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Yes.
I'm always willing to come on, trust me. And like I said, for anybody that want to know about my plan, it's called RikersReset.com. Go take a look at it. You know what I'm saying? And see what it is. And as far as the criminal justice reform, because to be honest with you, we could fix criminal justice in our community. We can fix it. It can be fixed.
We're the best to do it.
And
we're the best to do it.
And that's the deal. And to the union people that's watching, like you said, Damon, active or retired, whether you like me, you don't like me. First of all, you can't not like me because you don't goddamn know me. But whether you like me or you don't like me, come on out and support your union, support your cause, because unions built this city, and that's just not a cliche. That's real. You know, they built this city, and you know who also built it before we was even allowed in the union.
Exactly.
And continued to build it after we were allowed in the union.
Exactly.
So that's the deal. I appreciate it, though.
Nate Estes told me to tell you what's up.
Oh man, Nate. Tell Nate I said what's going on.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from Nate in a minute, boy. We used to be in the trenches.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I talked to him today too. I told him that you'd be on. I sent him the link, but he told me to tell you what's up, man. He told me to tell you what's up. All right, but thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for coming on the show, brother.
You got it, guys.
All right.
Later. Yeah, man. So this is we getting back to them real talk for the community. That's what this show's been based on for nine years, man. And this is real talk, man. And we need to have these conversations that are not being had on many different levels. And I do agree. You know, I've always said, you know, when it comes to the youth, we you know, I get invited to these youth symposiums and stuff, and all these leaders, I'm trying to use a nice word, people I think they all having these meetings about what the youth need, but they never include the youth in the conversation. You can't talk about criminal justice reform and recidivism without having the people that on the front lines in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, we just gotta, you know, everybody got a part to play. Like I said, with everything else, man, there's something you can do. But now this is for me, the editor-in-chief of Black Westchester. It's for you union leaders, and it's for you correction officers. Yo, several of you know me. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, I'm not even gonna call nobody, I'm not out nobody. Several of you know me, know how to reach me, and can reach me through Damon if you couldn't reach me. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we don't know what's going on. I know more because I talk to a lot of y'all. I know more what's going on than the average person does. But we don't know what's going on. We don't know. Y'all have to fight for, same thing I tell Black people, you know, they fight for civil rights and all this other stuff and voting rights and stuff. Ain't nothing been given to us because it was the right thing to do. Ain't nothing we ever had that we didn't have to fight for. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if you want to be on an equal scale with the police and have the comparative salary and all that, whatever that parity, whatever you was calling it, you got to fight for it. I can do a lot, but it don't affect me on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to fight for it. Like, I find myself fighting for people who don't fight for themselves. You understand what I'm saying? And there's some people that can't fight for themselves, but y'all have the ability to on many different levels. You know what I'm saying? So y'all gotta fight. Yeah, and when you have somebody fighting for you, you have to back them up and empower them. That's just real talk. All this playing safe, playing safe is how you got there. Getting along to go along is how you got there. Yeah, we got people that's in office. They look nice, say the right things. You know, you don't want to. You see where you at right now. So how bad do you want it? That's.
You know, I'm taken back. I'm taken back to.
Oh, what I said?
No.
Okay,
I'm just while you were saying, I'm just sitting here thinking, right? I'm taken back with, and I gotta, I respect a lot of people over there, man, right? But to the point that it amazes me, someone who's been there 33 years, that in the 90s, the same person that fought us to be the highest paid is proposing us to be the lowest paid. He was union president in the 90s and he's commissioner now. And I got much love for you, Joe. But this is crazy. Like, what would you do if you was union president? What would you do? Will you accept that? And the question is to the administration, and the question is to King Jenkins, and the question is to George Lattimore and the county legislators. If we are better trained, according to your reports, if we are nationally accredited, and you just start and want the police to be nationally accredited, so why? Explain why you will offer us 4 points less. What is the reason? What is the reason? Why? When you say that the state, the administration, the correction administration says that the state commission of corrections toured the facility and we're one of the best, or not the best facility in New York State, why do we get less? See, because it's disrespectful. Especially to the point that when COVID was happening, all the wardens was home.
Did y'all get hazard pay?
No, we got some little money, but it wasn't worth putting our life on the line and bringing
But you're supposed to get hazard pay. Did y'all get?
We got a little check. It wasn't worth what the fuck we put up for.
Okay.
Period. It wasn't worth that. That was bullshit. When we put our families in danger, coming to work, bringing the virus home.
I thought y'all didn't get it at all. That's what I'm saying.
We ain't get compared to what was on the line. It wasn't shit.
No, I agree with you.
Let's make that clear. What you gave us for COVID was bullshit. When everybody was home having Zoom meetings and staying home, and police didn't have to pull nobody over. They were barely on the highway. So that little shit y'all gave us for COVID wasn't shit. When we were taking this virus home to our families, and then y'all want to deny that we got it in jail. Well, where the fuck were we? When we were working 16 hours a day, 5 days a week, and even on our days off, and we come up with COVID, and you want to say we ain't catch it there. And then you want to turn around and give us some measly goddamn less money, and we're better trained than the police officers from your own reports. And you can't tell me I'm wrong because I was there. I was on the committee. So you can pull that shit with Pallone, but you can't pull it with me. So I want to know. And trust me, the next issue is going to be on the front page. I want to know why. Explain why. That we get 4% less. But you tell us we're better trained. You tell us we're the best of the best. You tell us we're nationally accredited. So tell us why we get 4% less. Do not disrespect us like that. George, Ken, county legislators, do not disrespect us like that. I was there. I just retired in August. And for the grace of God, I made it through. So don't disrespect us like that. Tell the public why. Because you don't have a why. And don't tell me because of the budget, because y'all pay for what the fuck y'all want to pay for. So tell us why. At the end of the day, because we're black and brown and your little county police is 78% white men. The numbers might change a little bit after George Floyd, after you took all the black officers from Mount Vernon, because you notice you ain't have no black officers in county police. So don't use us to talk about we got the highest Latino, we got the highest black, we got a female do this. Don't use us for that, and then you don't want to give us the money that we deserve. So if anybody in White Plains government is watching, we want to know why. Not just me, but Black Westchester wants to know why.
Westchester County government.
Yeah, Westchester County government.
White Plains government.
I'm
that's
sorry.
The city of White Plains.
Oh, well, the building of White Plains. They know what the fuck I'm talking about.
But Westchester County government. Yes.
The people, the White Plains building. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We want to know why. Why would you offer corrections less than you offer county police?
And you'll make 40,000 less.
We make 40,000 less. We make 40,000 less.
Do a hell of a lot more work.
Exactly. Because the question is, what do they police? What highway? You go to all these highways and state troopers writing. If you get into accidents, state troopers writing the tickets. And I'm not knocking county police. I'm just trying to figure out why. So someone needs to explain the why. Right? And if you're a county police officer and you think you know the why, y'all know how to get in touch with me. I want to know the why. Explain to me the why. And I'm challenging the county government to explain why. And I'm telling Pallone, don't you agree to shit till they publicly say why. See, because I could wait. But I'm not going to be disrespected. And Joe, you should be telling them to give us what they give. Straight music, because you wouldn't accept that if you was union president in the 90s. You wouldn't accept 4% less. You would have got us at least the same. So I don't know. Something has to happen. But you should not disrespect the department that has the most Black and brown people in the county, other than social services, as far as law enforcement. But you got to explain the why. Why would you do that to the correction officers? Explain that. And I hope that the members of COBA get their shit together and start putting people out of office. If they can't explain why, stop being punks.
So there's a union meeting tomorrow too?
It says October 2nd union meeting.
Yeah.
I can't go because it's in the facility.
No, but I'm saying those that watch this, they need
to explain. Like, listen, we done had allies here. Like, it's not much more that I need to say. He put on a class. Former New York City COBA president. Put on a class. My whole thing is the disrespect. And George Lattimore and King Jenkins need to explain a why. Especially Ken, if he thinks he's gonna get law enforcement support and Black law enforcement support in Westchester County after he disrespected the Black officers up at the county jail like this. See, when you dealing with politicians, it always have to be a or else.
Absolutely.
We deserve our respect. And if you're not going to give it to us, then don't expect our support. Straight music. And y'all officers that are left, y'all better learn this lesson for the next 20, 25 years that you have in that department. Get your goddamn respect. Because with respect comes the money and the benefits. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, just look at county police. Look at county police. And we outnumber county police 4 times. So I don't want to hear any excuses from the union president when he wants to rally and then nobody shows up. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it because it's all on you. I said it in the private group. Take your asses over to the county legislators building, sign up and speak your disgust. You have the right to. You are a county worker, and ain't nobody can do shit about it.
That's tomorrow. What time?
It's tomorrow. Oh shit! Hold on a second. I'm going to Boston, but I will be there. October 2nd at 7 a.m.
Tomorrow.
Exactly.
Get there 6:30.
I might try to. No, I got a YouTube show at 8. I ain't gonna be able to make it. I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm going, and you know how y'all gonna know I'm going? Because I'm gonna post the video because everything is videotaped. So I'm gonna post when I go. I'm posting my video.
Yep, you get it right off the website. I'm telling you now.
Exactly.
Go to the website. You all the meeting because every time they spoke, that's what I did. I ripped it off the website and I posted it in the stories.
And y'all need to go and tomorrow in your union meeting, y'all need to reach out to the retirees. Your welfare fund have every retiree email address and phone number, and send them a letter and ask them to call the county exec. This is a campaign. This is a fight. This is a war. It's not about you worried about hurting somebody's feelings. Oh, we don't want to hurt the police feelings. We don't want the police to be mad at us. Stop talking like a bitch.
They wasn't worried about hurting your feelings when they paid you what they're paying you. When they gave you the raise, they offered you the raise.
Exactly. They ain't worried about hurting your feelings, offering you 4% less. So why are you worried about hurting their feelings? Y'all have to man up, man. Y'all have to man up. You got to get it right. But I want to know why. It's so crazy because when you put everything in a line, how do we get less? They can't, and they can't use the budget as an excuse because we know government spends money on whatever they want to spend it on. They know how to find money. They know how to move money from here, move money from there, raise taxes here. They do whatever. So not having money in the budget is asinine, and it's not even a good excuse. Well, I mean, that's it. Thanks to Brother Elias, man. I think anybody that's watching, please check out the words that Brother Elias said. And
yo, follow us on YouTube at Black Westchester. If you watch it on YouTube, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to follow, subscribe, and share with others. This has been another episode of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 382.
Hold on. We got to do our outro music. Wait a minute.
Okay, I was going to, you do that. That comes after the you know, what you say.
Go ahead. Now talk, man. Talk, man. We got to talk, man.
This has been, I already said it all. This has been another episode of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 382. Where we give you real talk for the community since 2014. We're on every Sunday, 6 to 8. Streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Until next week, Peace.
We out.
See you, shirt. We out.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it. And are not.
Yeah, that was a good show, man.
No doubt. End stream. Hold on.
Oh, you got